Welcome to the Loud Lounge with yours truly, Selector Free. And today, this has been my bucket list 3 seasons in interview. Has been ducking me, has been down Guyana for cricket tournaments, has been Trinidad several times. I finally have my good friend, the General, in studio. Welcome to the Loud Lounge. You are finally here. And Jay, we're going to get this off our chest. This is my good friend that brought me into the world of soca. Many of those will say, Frey, you're a dancehall guy, you come out of awesome, you're a dynasty guy, but this is a guy who honestly shook my hand and made me become more versatile. So Jay, I will thank you for getting me into the soca community.
No problem. It's good to be here. Like you said, this has been talked about and in the works for a long time.
Yeah, she's been docking me.
Yeah, I kept saying I got to get up here. I got to get up here. I 100% agree. I ducked you for a little while. I was like, no, it's not the right time.
And now it was the official time.
So now it's the time.
So those that don't know, I know I'm gonna get myself in trouble for saying this, but I call Jason Sideo Mr. Carnival, the man that brought the carnival aspect to Bermuda. Those that don't know, me and Jason used to play music together. I was his mixman and he was the DJ. So I can say from my perspective, I watched the soca floor grow from times where we was up police club. The only people in the crowd were expats that were coming. Now it's carnival is a thing in Bermuda.
So I'll say officially, when that conversation comes my way, I often say I played my part in getting soca and carnival to Bermuda. I think it was folks that came before me, and there's even more folks that are going to come after me.
Yeah, we can't forget my good friend, Mr. Cleos himself.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we remember those carnival bands during 24th of May where you show the costumes and stuff.
For sure. I think multiple people played a role in getting it where it is today. And I'm just another cog in the wheel. I just done my part to get it, to help to get it to where it is. And like I said, there's gonna be more people after me that's gonna do their part to continue it and take it to the next level and past where I got it to and what it is today and moving forward.
The progression of
it. The progression. That's all it is. Succession plan and moving things forward. If you think you're it and you're the only one that's ever gonna do it,
no. So let's come off this topic because a lot of people know you as the General. You play music, but we're going to talk about who the General is, all aspects, the music, his hobbies and interests. Those that don't know, he's a diehard Chelsea fan. He's a diehard Chelsea fan.
Let me say congratulations.
Thank you. You can officially say that.
At the time that this was recorded, Liverpool has officially won the league.
For some reason, I heard Freddie McGregor. I was born a winner. That is playing in the background.
Congratulations.
So, Jay, let's talk about your DJ background. Those don't know, you are quite the musician.
Mm-hmm. So as a DJ, I just have a love for music, period. All kinds of music. I've played in jazz bands. I've played organs in the church. I've played drums and filled in for where I was needed. I played trombone in the regiment. It all started with music before I was a DJ. So when I got over to university, the opportunity was put in front of me. Shock and Loss to Vince, who's here on the island as well, at Acadia University. And those guys said, well, look, we're graduating and there's nobody to carry on the music and playing Caribbean music and moving it forward, and to somebody who'd be able to have an event for what was then the CARICOM Society. So it kind of fell in my lap because I just had a collection of CDs. Also, it didn't hurt that I was an IT guy with a CD burner, so I could download from Napster, burn it onto a CD.
Now you're showing your age.
and
dial-up days.
Right. Dial up, download some music, burn it to a CD, and then show up to the club later. So, DJing, if you told me I was going to be a DJ when I was in high school, I'd tell you you're crazy. There's no way. I definitely was enjoying music and performing music, but had no idea I was gonna end up.
That was a lane that was being pushed to you.
Yeah.
So people know you as being a soca man. What is your favorite genre of music?
I would definitely have to say soca. Is if we take the question a different direction is what do I listen to at home?
Yes.
Usually some R&B. R&B, I'll listen to reggae, I'll listen to a little bit of everything. My uncle, he passed away a couple of years ago. He had a collection of records. And lately I've been going through his records and like an actual record player.
And playing.
Yeah, and there's like jazz records, like Dizzy Gillespie, like jazz records. And I've been enjoying this. So yeah, what I listen to at home is I listen to enough soca outside home.
So home's your safe place.
Yeah, when I go home, I listen to a little bit of everything else. But yeah, I just enjoy music.
Now, speaking on this, you say you started off in college, part of the CARICOM Society, playing parties. What was it like with the climate of playing parties out there and then gradually coming back home and playing? What was it like?
Yeah, it was so the CARICOM parties were CARICOM parties, like the major population that were from the Caribbean islands, and Bermuda was considered a part of the Caribbean in that CARICOM society, was Bermuda and Bahamas. Bahamas listens to a lot of the same musical genres that we do. So it's like playing for a home crowd. The Bahamians would get involved and enjoy it as well. Also folks from other countries like Barbados, Trinidad as well, but mostly Bahamas and Bermuda. I enjoyed Canada and Acadia. I also got the opportunity to play in the student unions bar, which was called the Axe. Those had our Canadian folks in it. So I did diversify my collection a bit and got some tub thumping and what was it, Green Day, and like I could play a full spectrum of music and go from
becoming more versatile.
Definitely. Yeah, being able to expand into some other genres that I definitely wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise if I didn't go to school in Canada. So, and listening to those genres in clubs and in DJing, working them into DJ sets and coming in and out, and obviously hip hop, R&B, top 40 stuff will get played. So definitely versatility was key in university and DJing over that side.
Now, I want to ask you this because those have seen you play many parties. What was that first party you actually played where you said, hey, I'm pretty good at this, maybe I can push this a little further? Which was that party that was your wake up, say, hey, I can really do this?
So that would be in university as well. I was playing for a set and Vince, Shock and Lust, and there was a guy named Jay. And Jay was a big guy from Toronto. He DJ'd on records. He was mostly a hip hop guy, but he could do dancehall and everything else. They had a party and I had an opportunity to play for a couple minutes. And in the couple minutes that I played and then people were singing to what I was playing. And that was like the top. Like, you just got to play the intro and everybody's singing. And I'm like, oh, all right, this works. Oh, I'm doing this. So watching guys like Shock and Lust, and they called him Big J, watching those guys play and the crowd react to them in that way. And then when I played that same set on that same night, the crowd reacted in the same way, then I must be doing all right. So yeah, that was definitely the point where I was like, oh, all right, cool. The only other piece I'll add to that is that I didn't expect for DJing to continue outside of university. When I left university, I went and lived in Toronto for a little while. I thought I was gonna put DJing down, and I was like, "Yeah, it's cool." Like it was a university thing.
Yeah, it
was finished.
That era of my life.
Yeah. So didn't play very much in Toronto, here and there, little house parties, small lounges, that type of thing. Whenever it came up, but when I moved back to Bermuda, the folks who went to school in Canada or who knew me, or who knew me, who knew me in Toronto and where I would play, they were like, "Hey, so what you doing? Like, where are you playing?" And I was like, well, it's over. I'm getting into my professional IT career. Like, we're just gonna stick to that. So yeah, again, try to duck it and say, yeah, I'm not DJing.
They called you again.
Yeah, life took a different turn and I'm still here.
Now, we talked about your intro moment and you said you could do this, you got hooked. Have you ever had a moment where it wasn't one of your greatest sets?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely 100%. And I think every DJ has their sets. Like every DJ has a set where tonight's just not your night.
Yeah, it's not my
Yeah, yeah.
it's not my good.
Lately, I've been playing golf, and like sometimes I say like today's just not a golf day. Like
What's
you get out there, you do. I haven't really calculated. Right now I'm aiming to get under 100, and sometimes I'm successful. I'm happy with that. So definitely, it's yeah. Some days are just not your day, and you got to be able to recognize that, adapt to it, work another way to get to the crowd.
Don't let it hurt your confidence.
Yeah. It's
I knew some guys that I played and they had that bomb that I don't want to do this no more.
No, definitely not. You gotta pick yourself back up, figure out where you went wrong. You know what I mean? And I, in times like that, I listen to other sets, or I listen to other DJs, or even better, if I have the opportunity and I happen to be traveling, most times I get inspiration and I want to just jump back into it when I go to another party and I have a good time. And I'm like, God, that guy done that. And I was like, yeah, that was nice.
Now, speaking on that, because we was going to get to that, who are some of the DJs that you look up to that you can say kind of inspired the general's flair and flavor in playing soca music?
Sure. I have to say Dr. J, number one. Dr. J is out of Toronto. And Dr. J, like, he's a bit older than I am. So when I was living in Toronto, I would say he was getting into his prime, so to speak. And he's still at the top of his game, still influencing crowds and setting up events like Soca or Die in Toronto is a massive event. Don't Cry and Leave, and all of those events that are still going on today. I think he's up to like Don't Cry I Leave in number 15 or 16 or something like that. So it's been running like year after year after year. He has ongoing radio shows in Toronto, influences that the Caribbean diaspora, so to speak, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada larger, and then even as he travels past Canada. So definitely Dr. J, not just the DJing aspect and that being an inspiration, but also his business model and how he carried things forward. And he had a band in Carabana. I think this year is the first year that he's not doing it. And he says he's coming back and is going to revamp and rework things to come back in future years. But this year he's not doing it. So definitely as an entrepreneur, somebody involved in the Caribbean scene and what he's done in the past and continues to do, I would say Dr. J is a big inspiration.
We can also say as an inspiration, because you said some of the things have done, but we can actually say you're the Dr. J of Bermuda. At times you had your own band.
Yeah.
You've done radio shows.
Yeah.
You've done the diaspora of Caribbean music in Bermuda, you know?
Yeah. And my name's Jay, so I guess you could take that.
Yeah.
And again, that's another one of those moments where like, wow, like you get on a stage and you see something that you try to model and emulate and say, cool, I like what he's doing over there. And then to come home
for yourself,
like,
and it worked.
Cool, I did that and it worked. So yeah, definitely watching that and putting it together.
We're gonna talk a little bit more because we called you Mr. Carnival. What was it like when you actually made that decision that you wanted to? We talked about the forefathers that paved the way, but you took it to that next step to actually bring the carnival package and the environment to Bermuda. What was that like? Because that's something that a lot of people want to know. You know?
Yeah. It surreal would be a good way to describe it. I set goals and I think like this is what I want to do and this is what I want to make happen. And then when they happen, it's kind of like I'm in disbelief
that it
actually happened, and then you pull it off and like, wow, like this is something I created. When I came back home initially from living in Toronto and being abroad for school, soca was known, but I think you and I called it cup match soca at one point.
Because the only time we heard it was county game season, right, and that was it.
Yeah, and the music that was being played, we didn't always get on to the newer soca. Now, folks like Quincy Aberdeen and his family, they have the Glow Party. They have pockets, and even back then, had pockets of smaller events that would play new soca. They would play the up to
Right.
date Trinidad soca,
That was evolving so people had a better understanding.
but it always didn't hit mainstream. So when I got back, I was like, well, how do I get this to hit mainstream? Like, how do I push it to, like you said, to that next level beyond where the forefathers left it, and beyond where Choi Ming and his crew and what they done in the Bermuda Day Parade and that type of thing? How do I get that to where it is today, to that next level? And then that's what I pushed on to do. Barney Benjamin, Daniel Reese.
Yes, your crew.
That
There's
crew.
many parties.
Yeah.
Police Club.
That's where, I mean, that's where things really got started. We like you said, have parties up at Police Club with 20 people and have a blast. Like some of the best.
I remember there's night.
And we would watch the sun come up at that place. You know what I mean? Like just having an absolute blast. And those parties grew, and the word grew, and the energy grew. And soca's captivating energy. Like when you get into that environment, and it's just a happy vibe.
Could we also see the younger generation, or like we'll say my generation, we traveled more?
Mhm.
So a lot of people were, when you heard about Trinidad, it was foreign. Now Bermudians are going Trinidad. Bermudians are going crop over.
Definitely.
We have a big St. Lucian, Dominican contingent. The Guyanese are getting in there. Shout out to the Guyanese. The Guyanese are getting in there. But
It's a country.
now we can now say that it's evolving. Where before, it sounds crazy. When I say, oh, that's that crazy music those people listen to. And in Bermuda, like you could tell, because you was the one that brought me to this. I said the only time I heard soca was 24th of May. And the last day I really heard soca was the last Eastern County game, because every time when the finals was, we all went Tiger Bay afterwards.
Yeah.
So the tiny whining, the ouch, you know, get the cat. Like that was my bringing it to the soca thing, and then you introduced me to it and brought me to the newer stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think that the timing of when Bermuda started to evolve, and in terms of soca music and fetes and events, it also coincided with the evolve of soca. Like soca wasn't always what it is today. It started out as calypso, got into soca, and now to see soca branch out into, like you said, the various countries where you got Dannery out of St. Lucia, where you Jab
Jeff
from Grenada. Crop over was always a different style of music.
Yes, Barbados.
With Barbados. So as each of those smaller subgenres of soca, I would call it, started to evolve, Bermuda was also evolving. So you had, like you said, other folks from other countries who live on the island. They were able to enjoy the music at these events now in Bermuda. So it grew naturally. And it's all, the timing was just great timing.
Now we can talk about our moments where we played. When you brought me to soca versus reggae. So those don't know, I'm normally the joker, full of confidence. That was the first time I can honestly say I was camera shy, because I was shocked at what we did. I was like, gee, those who didn't know, I had some liquid courage, some Grey Goose to get the confidence out there.
Yeah, that was definitely, so soca versus reggae, I mean, from where it started with the same Barney Vigil crew, and then now even this year it's coming back.
Yeah.
And they're putting soca versus reggae on again. So that happened for 10 years. And I would say I performed on probably about 7 out of those 10 years on the soca team every year. One of those years was with Selector Frey on the mic.
Yes, we won.
Yeah,
That's right. I won and done.
Frey came up.
Laugh at me. I am not a soca DJ, but when I play soca versus reggae, soca won.
You gave me a dub plate. You said, hey, I got this dub plate. I can't remember what it was.
It was the conscience.
Yeah.
I put it in a soca rhythm. I was like, don't play that.
Like, this ain't gonna work. I was like, we're gonna get dissed. You cannot play that. Definitely. That's a throwback right there.
Yeah.
That boy put a conscience on a soca beat and said, drop this here.
He's like, no. That's where he kicked in with the experience. Not a dancehall mind, but we can also talk about shout out to Touch the Deck, because I remember one time you took me on Touch the Deck. Benjai, yeah. People calling out, man. I didn't sign up for this. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The Touch That crew, also that Veil Vibe crew and that family.
Yes.
They were definitely always doing big things on the island, and that's another pocket of an event that happens on the island. It's mainstream enough. It definitely gets enough people, but yeah,
It's like you
that
got to
helped
be
to
in the
expand.
circle to
Yeah,
get
exactly.
there. Yeah.
But it helped to expand the entire product in Bermuda and that soca carnival vibe on the island for sure.
Now we're gonna talk about who is the general outside of playing. Is he a family man? What are his interests outside of music? Because we talked about the DJ, the entrepreneur, the soca carnival man. Who is the general outside of music?
Yeah, so I go to work 9 to 5. Put on my pants one leg at a time, like everybody else. Got to pay the bills. I'm an IT guy. I'm an IT professional, qualified certifications and done all kinds of things. So I work for an insurance company in town, and I do IT full time. Hobbies outside of that, like I already mentioned, golf. I tend to play golf more in the winter months because summer months I prefer to be on my boat outside on the water, and it's too hot to play golf. So those are my two main hobbies, I would say. During COVID, I picked up a little woodworking, and I've been enjoying that.
Oh, carpentry.
Yeah, I got a couple tools together, and yeah, it's different saws and what I could do with routers and blah blah blah. And it amazed me that I could just build a piece of furniture, and a usable piece of furniture, something that works, don't fall apart. And I was just like, oh, well, I could use my hands.
We're gonna talk about this. I need to come visit.
Still got all
this,
still got all my fingers.
This furniture is solid for a fat boy.
Yeah.
Anybody can stand on the stool for 30 pounds, well, you know.
You'll be all right. My latest project, I made a domino table. So as you mentioned, Guyanese. So my heritage is my mom's family is from Bermuda. So I was born and raised here. And my dad's family is from Guyana. In Guyana, there's a tree that grows there called purple heart. And it has a distinct smell and look, one of the hardest pieces of wood that you can find. And then, of course, we have Bermuda cedar. So I made this domino table out of Bermuda cedar and purple heart. So it's, that's been exciting to get into over the past couple of years.
Now, speaking on your family's, your gene pool, your background, I'm never known to be a cricketer. Is there any cricket blood in you? Because you're Guyanese.
Yeah, so...
quite a lot to do.
Yeah, so my daddy came to Bermuda, met my mom in college, came to Bermuda, they got married, so he started living there. He actually played for White Hill for a short period. That's what he tells me. I wasn't born yet. He tells me the story. He used to walk, they used to live over White Hill, he used to walk down the hill, and he used to play for Somerset Bridge. And so his definitely got some cricket in him. He enjoys playing cricket. In primary school, I went to Paget Primary. I wanted to play. We started to play for a little while, but we joke in my house, it was during church time. My mom was like, no, y'all gotta go over the hill. It's time to go to church.
Don't feel bad, does it? My mom was like that too.
Yeah, so I
reached a certain age, she's like, he's really into this. Come on, mom.
Yeah, so it was the toss up between music and sports. So I did play a little bit of cricket. I enjoyed it, but music definitely took more of my attention. And then, like I said,
they kind of say I'm living in your shoe too, because Arnold Mandelstam, Western Stars, come on, you gotta train.
Yeah.
This ain't happening. It's too hot for this, bro.
Yeah, that's true. It is hot out there. So yeah, that's definitely the cricket base.
Where do you see yourself within the next, let's say, 5 years as the general, the brand, and the general as a person?
I, as an entrepreneur and as I would say an event promoter, period. It's not just carnival events. I think I've checked that box. I can do that. So with Bermuda Smash Invitational, bringing that on last year for the first year, and then now we're going into year 2 this year in 2025. That's growing and getting into.
So believe it or not, we was about to touch into that, but you brought us into it.
Yeah,
I can honestly say a lot of my friends are looking forward to it. Shout out to my cousin, Mr. Frey. You know who he is.
Yep. Definitely.
You know, we free stick together. So
Definitely.
got a shout out to my cousin, right?
Definitely. Yeah. So Bermuda Smash Invitational it came out of a conversation at Cup Match. I was sitting at St. George's in my camp, and I was talking to Gio Deal, and I was saying, like, what can we do to make this exciting? Like what can we do to put some energy back into?
Like our version of a 2020
Yeah.
international.
Yeah,
tournament.
and Gio challenged me. She was like, "So, what are you gonna do about it?" And I was just like, well, "That's a good point. Like, I could just sit here and complain about it and say,
Oh, like
I'm not enjoying this, or I'm not
Yeah.
enjoying that, or why don't I do this, or why don't I do that?" Or I could just do something about it and make it happen myself. So I had a conversation with Steven Outerbridge, and it's like, Steven, and this tailed off a separate conversation that him and I had during Carnival. He said similarly. He was like, what we're going to do with this? Like, how are we going to put some energy into this, and what's the next thing? So, yeah, contacted Steven and said, look, this is my idea. This is what I want to do. So we pieced it together, formed a team, and that created Bermuda Smash Invitational. So the basic premise is that we have international teams visit the island and play against us. We do well sometimes we don't do so well. But what if we could have awesome talent come to Bermuda and play with us as opposed to
That's to bring up the level of cricket.
And they could learn something, everybody could learn something, and also the internationals come to Bermuda, enjoy their time in Bermuda. They're promoted to their folks, and we could get even visitors coming to the island to witness this. Make it another sports event, another event on the calendar. So that's where the premise came from. It, similar to Carnival, year one was great and people enjoyed it, and it looks like year two, similar to Carnival.
Yes, everybody's looking forward to it. And something that you done different this year that you did last year, you actually have a great concert. Is that the final night?
It's not the final night. So the concert's called Happy Place, featuring Lyrical. So Lyrical's a soca artist. He has this event called Happy Place that he travels and does in various jurisdictions. Bermuda is the first place that he's done other than Trinidad outside of the United States. So we're fortunate enough that we were able to partner and bring Lyrical and Happy Place.
There's the entrepreneur side of Mr. J. We just talked about it. It's tying back in.
Yeah, so it's an exciting event, but the finals are on Sunday, and we figured everybody's got school the next day, work, so we didn't want to put the finals concert or that concert after the finals, so that'll run too late. So that concert is actually going to be on the Friday night, which is a non-cricket day. Yeah, June 6th. So as the schedule stands right now, we have blank days in between cricket days. One, the main reason is because of weather. So if we have to shift the game because it rains all day, then we can move it to one of the blank days and then adjust the schedule from there, essentially. We did do that last year in our first year. We were supposed to play Wednesday, Thursday, a free day on Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday. Thursday, there ended up being some rain, so we played Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. As a result, with that run from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days straight, that was why we ended up spreading out the tournament over 2 weekends now. Because if you play 3 days straight,
people are tired and people are
burnt out. So by the time you get to the finals on that, or last year, by the time we got to the finals on the Sunday, the team that actually won, shout out to Hamilton Parish Hurricanes, they played like 3 games back to back. They played the last game on the Saturday, and they played the qualifier on the Sunday morning, and then the finals on Sunday afternoon. So they ended up playing, like, they were burnt out.
Now, I know I'm going to get you in some trouble for this. You are one of the prod guys that created this tournament, Dubaka. Who is your favorites you're thinking for this year to win the tournament?
So I'm not sure when this is going to air, but we have draft night coming up on Friday night. So Friday, May the 2nd, I believe it is, Friday?
Yes, May the 2nd.
So Friday coming is our draft night. So we don't even know who's playing on what team yet, completely.
Whoa. So
how the format works is that we were coaches and the captain were able to select 5 players that they wish to retain from last year, and then all the other players will be redrafted. So right now we only have a total of 6 players that we know of from each of those 4 teams, and the remaining folks, including 2 internationals, will be drafted on Friday night.
Okay, now speaking on that, what is the number base of each team? Like how many players on each team?
So I hope not getting in trouble here, but I believe it's 13.
So you only have
At
two
this
subs.
point, I'm gonna shout out to my team.
Okay.
So, so like I said, I contacted Stephen Otterbridge, and he immediately said, "We're gotta get Jacon involved." So shout out to Jacon Ednes. Then we also wanted to get a couple other people on board. So Shane Hollis, his at Somerset Bridge. Those are the three cricket experts. And then I paired on my event expertise with Jermaine Davis and Misha Mori. So we have
Your brothers in crime.
right. So we got three folks on the event side, three folks on the cricket side, and together we set up this team so that we get the best ideas on the event side to make not just a cricket match where we're just playing cricket and
Yeah.
we get out to a result. That's all fine, but let's put some spice and pizzazz into it and make it into an experience. So that's where the event guys come into play. So I do know details, but I hope I'm not quoting the wrong numbers. I believe it's 13 per team.
Okay. Now, this is what I always want to ask you.
Mhm.
Will you have a local celebrity play on a team as like a guest match? Or will you have like an all-star match, what I was thinking,
Mhm.
near the end of the tournament where you take the best players that have had a good run rate,
Yeah.
and each team's do it East versus West to give it an all-star appeal to it?
Yeah.
You ever thought about that?
So we've definitely fielded many ideas. Like out of the first year, people who watched Bermuda Smash Invitational in 2024, immediately light bulbs started to go off for various people, and we had all kinds of ideas come at us. I do think that there is room for other matches to take place within the tournament. One of those ideas that came out is the Future Stars match. Last year, we had what we called the skills and drills. So shout out to Freystar. Freystar came on board with us, and they put together a skills and drills exhibition with younger players. And so in between the matches, between the qualifier and the final, we had skills and drills going on. So people were entertained essentially watching the kids go through various skills and drills. From there, there were folks that weren't selected in the main draft to be in the tournament, mostly between the ages of say 16 and 19 or 20 or so, just for the numbers that we needed. So what we did this year is called it the Future Stars match. And that's sponsored by Athene this year. So it's called the Athene Future Stars match. So instead of having the qualifier right before the finals and then possibly tiring out those players, we're going to have the Athene Future Stars match right on finals day, right before the finals. So that match will start at 12 o'clock. So that was one of the ideas that came out of last year's tournament that we were able to put into action. I would love to see, you know how we have Masters League on the island for football. I would love to see some of the Masters come back who used to play for Cup Match last year and similar to what you're saying. So that's another idea that came out of it. Do we have an All-Stars match? That's another idea and possibly where things can go. We definitely see Bermuda Smash Invitational being able to grow year to year. And we don't want to take on too much at one time and
gradually build it up.
Gradually.
That evolve with time.
Exactly. So all of these ideas, everything's on the table, and we'll just have to see where it fits into the schedule and how we can move it on. One of the things that came out of last year as well is that when the players, even before the 4 players that came to the island got to the island, they already knew about Bermuda's golf courses. They were like, look, well, let me see the schedule because I want to play golf.
They want the recreation.
Let me see what's happening with these golf courses. I'm hearing Bermuda's like the golf capital of the world. So we decided to work it into the schedule. And also we knew that a lot of our local cricketers also enjoy golf. A lot of those masters that I was talking about, guys that used to play cricket back in the day, they shifted over to golf. So we now have a golf tournament in the schedule. On Friday, June 6th, before Happy Place, so during the day, it starts at 11:30 at Port Royal Golf Course. We'll have the Bermuda Smash Golf Tournament. So there's an opportunity for the international folks to get out and enjoy the island a little bit. You get a bit of a social setting. Some of them are great golfers, so we'll be able to pair some of those international guys up and put those on teams with locals so they can have those conversations and interact with local people who enjoy golf, so to speak, and offer the cricket pitch. And then the other thing it does is it creates that camaraderie. I think is a tourism opportunity in a sense, because once we sports tourism, and then once we start to show these international cricketers, well, here's what Bermuda is, here's our people, here's what we enjoy, here's our golf courses, here's what we do outside of cricket, here's a chance to socialize. They're gonna go back and tell other people
and bring more people
back with them. So yeah, definitely that was another idea that came from one of the internationals last year and say, hey, can we play golf in this schedule? Like, can we work in a golf?
I have a question for you, and this came from someone in my circle.
Mm-hmm.
How do people get jerseys for the particular team? Because that's a new thing now where people watch the IPL or the CPL, and it's like, I want a jersey for Hamilton.
Yeah.
I want a jersey for Somerset. So how can we talk about that?
So our jerseys we worked with for Bermudian who lives overseas, Stephen Kelly, and his team, and they produce our jerseys. We are working with him to see what we can do for fan gear, and also who we can use as an outlet. Talking to various sports stores, somebody like Pro Shop or even Gibbons Company. Where do we sell these things? BSI doesn't have a storefront, obviously, so we want to be able to make it accessible. So that's definitely a conversation around our table. How do we make it happen? How do we set this up, make it easy for the fans to pick up this gear? So stay tuned, it's coming.
Thank you.
It's coming.
Well, on behalf of the Loud Lounge, it's been a very informative and great interview with my good friend, the General. And before we end this interview, I wish you nothing but prosperity and greatness in your future endeavors. And I salute you, brother.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best. And before we go, you'll never walk alone. A selector free, the General himself here